As the biggest Messi supporter on this platform, I hate to admit it, but my idol is finished. Whoa, guys, calm down. This doesn't change his legacy in any way, shape, or form. It's just disappointing to see him go to the MLS when I feel like he has 1 to 2 more years left at the top level at a minimum. Seeing him play Houston Dynamo on a Sunday evening is just not going to hit the same as seeing him compete against the best of the best in Europe in the Champions League. Now, this is coming from my selfish perspective of a fan that wants to watch him more. From his perspective, I fully understand the move. If you watch his interview, it makes perfect sense. He didn't want to put himself in a position where his fate was in somebody else's hand, in this case Laporta, with Barcelona making a ton of promises that they could potentially not guarantee once again, like 2 years ago. He talks about how much his family influenced him and the fact that he just doesn't want to be in the spotlight anymore. And this is perfectly understandable considering the guy has literally completed football. But as a fan, I just wish I could continue watching him play at the top flight because he still has so much more left to give, in my opinion. I mean, he's coming off of a season where he's going to be in the Ballon d'Or race, 20 goals, 20 assists in the top 5 leagues. He's just recently won the World Cup. There's more juice left in those legs. But nevertheless, we're here. Now, Apple and MLS have a great opportunity to really use this signing as a way to make positive ripple effects throughout North America, which I'm going to explore in this video. However, if I'm being honest, I just think there's too many core and fundamental issues in North American football that just won't be resolved despite the fact that Messi is the GOAT and such a massive star. One of the biggest positive signs of this Messi signing is the potential it has in terms of growing the league and football culture within North America. It's very similar to what happened with Pele when he joined the New York Cosmos in the 90s. Having a massive star like that come to North America can really help influence how people view the sport. My hope is that Messi can inspire both players and coaches in North America the importance of technical ability, football IQ, and finesse when it comes to succeeding on the football pitch. There are too many people in North America who have an absolute obsession with physical power and speed. And it's one of the biggest reasons, especially at youth level, that player development in North America is so far behind. Too many coaches and people in charge treat football like it's hand egg, basketball, or hockey. It's just not the same sport. There's a completely different skill set that is required, and there's a completely different culture behind it. Let me give you guys an example. Imagine Sergio Busquets was somebody that was born and raised in the United States of America. He would not become the player he is today because most scouts and coaches would look at him and say, well, you're too skinny, you're too slow to be able to thrive in high-level football. And that's just not the case as you see how well he's developed in Europe. But his skill set is something that people in North America are not used to because they're major sports. It's all about finding the fastest, strongest, biggest guys because those guys tend to succeed in those sports. That's just not how football works. I mean, when you think about it, Messi is the GOAT and he's 5'7". Look at Maradona. He was probably about 5'5". Shorter players with good center of gravity tend to be incredible at football. The whole goal is somebody like Messi can inspire a whole new generation of young kids that want to pursue football in a continent and a country where there's so many other sports that are more lucrative and provide greater opportunity. I mean, you think about basketball, kids can go to college and then immediately go to the league getting guaranteed multi-million-dollar contracts and getting a ton of notoriety. That's just not the case with football. Collegiate football especially is nowhere near the level of NCAA basketball, NCAA hockey, even something like NCAA baseball. So Messi theoretically could help lay the foundation for wanting to once again increase popularity. As I said, like what Pele did for the Cosmos in the 90s, where MLS ratings have never been higher. With the amount of fame and attention he brought to the league was something that was huge in terms of changing the outlook of how people in Canada and United States viewed the sport. And especially when you look at how multicultural the two countries are, there's a ton of potential opportunities there if executed properly. While there's a lot of potential positive opportunity, here are the main issues. Number one, let's say Messi inspires a group and generation of young kids to want to pursue football. It's still incredibly expensive to play football in North America. The barrier to entry is huge. It costs a ton of money for parents to put their kids into programs that develops their ability. Football or soccer in North America is an expensive sport. It's not played by the kids that are in poverty. And oftentimes, those are the kids that are the best at football. When you think about some of the greats that have become, they all came from tough backgrounds and poor financial situations. That's where their hunger came from. So you're already limiting a whole group of players, no matter how much they're inspired by Messi, by actually being able to take a part in these opportunities, because if they don't have the cash, they just can't play. The Messi plan also needs to be executed perfectly, because while Pele is a great example of an absolute legend increasing the fame around football in North America, there's plenty of other stars that have been signed in the last 10 to 20 years that have maybe helped a quick spark in interest, but never anything sustainable. You look at Steven Gerrard, David Villa, Thierry Henry. Now, these guys are nowhere near as good or as big as Messi was, but they were stars at the time. And what ended up happening is it didn't change the branding of the MLS, which is it's seen as a retirement home. And Messi, the good thing about him is I still think he has a few more years left in him, so the magic he can cultivate in MLS is still great, but he's still somebody who's in the back end of his career. It doesn't really change the stereotype that only finished and retired players actually go to the MLS. The league will never get taken seriously. The league also won't be taken seriously because of a couple of other reasons. Number one, no relegation or promotion. I mean, people in Europe are just laughing at this concept. All the major European leagues have a promotion and relegation system. It builds suspense. It allows development to happen in the lower leagues and come up. There's so many journeys of teams going from a lower end league to the top flight. There's none of that in MLS. You can be as bad as you want, and the next season you're still there. Now, it works for other franchises like NBA, but that's because the system's completely different, where you have it so that the bad teams get draft compensation to get the next best player. But although there's draft picks in the MLS, that's not where the top level players are. In the NBA, if a team is bad, all the best players usually come out of college or from Europe, so the draft system can actually help you get the next superstar. That doesn't work in MLS because young players don't want to go there because of the second reason the league isn't taken seriously, and that's because there's salary caps. Now, as a whole, I feel like salary caps are actually a nice addition and keeps the league balanced, but when the rest of Europe doesn't have that, you're never going to be able to compete with them. If you have a high young prospect, why would he ever come to North America where there's a cap on his potential earnings and there's less opportunities for fame and sponsorships and brand deals? He could get way more going to Europe where teams like Manchester City, PSG, even Real Madrid can pay bigger sums of money and give him way more eyes and notoriety around the sport. So the potential is there. I just hope MLS realizes how to market Messi properly, because when we're looking at stars, especially stars that North American people like, Messi doesn't really fit the typical mold. I mean, he's quiet, he's an introvert, he doesn't speak a single word of English. He's not going to be like Zlatan or Ronaldo and have this electrifying, super charismatic personality. No, Messi does his talking on the football pitch, but in North American culture, personality is equally, if not more important than the player's ability on the pitch. I mean, look at NBA. Kawhi Leonard and Jokic are incredible players, and the media tried to push how good they are, but it is difficult to market guys that are on the quieter side. But overall, this move has a lot of potential. It doesn't change the core issues that are prevalent in North American football, but maybe it can pave the path to improving it.